It is time now for a check of the top business news stories. I'm joined by Yuka Roya. Hi there, Yuka. Let's start with the story of a startup lender in the United Kingdom which has gone bankrupt, and that might rattle the financial sector right across the globe.
It's called Greensill. It's a boutique bank that specialises in short-term supply chain financing. It filed for insolvency in a London court on Monday. The company says that it has fallen into severe financial distress and can no longer pay off its debt. Founded 10 years ago, Greensill helped companies around the world manage their finances by paying suppliers on their behalf and collecting the money later on. It had more than 10 million customers in over 175 countries and provided $143 billion worth of financing in 2019. But the firm plunged into crisis last week after its main insurer refused to renew a contract, prompting two of its major creditors to pull the plug on funds. Germany's financial watchdog has frozen the operations of Greensill's German subsidiary, citing an imminent risk of over-indebtedness. The Bank of England has also taken action. According to the Financial Times, the European Central Bank has asked banks on the continent to report their exposure to Greensill. Now, here in France, an appeal trial of Swiss bank UBS against a record fine over money laundering and tax fraud has begun. The trial was supposed to start last June, but was delayed because of the pandemic. A French court convicted UBS in February of 2019 for allegedly helping wealthy clients stash secret assets offshore and handed a record €4.5 billion penalty. UBS denies any wrongdoing. A verdict may come around June, which could be appealed again in France's highest court. UBS's rival Credit Suisse is also under investigation in Belgium for allegedly helping clients evade tax. Now, France is already deemed number one in corporate gender equality, but ruling party lawmakers are planning to introduce a bill that would establish quotas for the number of women in top positions at large companies. Solange Moujan has more on the proposal and how it's being called the sequel to another similar law.
Taking gender equality to the next level. Ensuring women aren't just an equal part of the workforce, but that more of them are in powerful positions. French lawmakers belonging to the majority are proposing a new bill. It would create an index and quotas to ensure greater parity in top jobs.
It would take 257 years if you look at the issue on a global level, or 54 years when it comes to Europe, to reach parity between men and women. That is if we don't make laws and we don't step up fines.
The proposal would require large companies or those with more than 1,000 employees to ensure a degree of parity when it comes to leadership positions. Those top 10% of jobs would need to be filled by more women, 30% in the next 5 years, and then at least 40% by 2030. Companies that don't follow the guidelines would be issued heavy fines. But the idea of quotas and sanctions hasn't gone down well with business unions.
France is on top when it comes to international indexes. We need to find other methods, and we are working with Madame Borne on making the top 10% more feminine.
This isn't the first time France has legislated on gender equality. It's been a decade since the Copé-Zimmermann law was passed, and with it, the number of women on corporate boards has jumped from 15% to 40%. And companies now publish their gender equality indexes. But inequalities such as pay disparities, a lack of promotions, and fewer women in top spots still plague French society.
Jan, with that report. Now let's check in on the day's trading action. And European banking shares rose this Monday despite a potential bombshell linked to that Greensill's bankruptcy filing. As you can see, major indices all up in positive territory. Wall Street shares also rising amid optimism over President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus bill, which was passed by the Senate at the weekend and is now heading for a final vote in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. It's just the Nasdaq that's dropping in negative territory now. The US dollar, meanwhile, rose to the highest level in 3.5 years as the US government's borrowing rate continued to rise. As you can see, euro dropping against the US dollar, which means that the US dollar is now stronger against the euro. Oil prices, meanwhile, surged in the aftermath of Sunday's attack on Saudi oil facilities. Brent crude earlier rose above $70 for the first time since the start of the pandemic. Now they're bounced back with WTI and Brent crude both dropping about 1.5%. And that's it for business for now.
Thank you very much indeed for that business update. Yuka Roya, thank you.